Many of us want to travel and see new amazing places around the world, but some are either just not worth the trouble or downright dangerous. Whether it's bungee jumping into a volcano or exploring underground places which could be haunted, here are 12 tourist attractions you should avoid. Number 12. Half Dome Yosemite. This massive granite dome is found on the eastern end of Yosemite, and it looks like someone just chopped a giant mountain in half. There have been many attempts to conquer the peak of the Half Dome since 1875, which rises 4,737 feet above the valley floor. It's a little bit easier now with the installation of cable routes, but still a challenge nonetheless. The peak is known to attract lightning strikes, so hikers need to be aware of the weather conditions before climbing up this strange geological formation. Many people might underestimate the amount of strength it takes to walk up this thing. And if it starts to rain while you're on here, you could be in serious trouble. Number 11. Villarica Volcano, Chile. Chile is known for their beautiful mountains, but sometimes they could be hiding a lot more than what meets the eye. This mountain at first glance doesn't look too much different from many majestic peaks you've probably seen in the past, but it turns out it's highly active and there's a pool of lava found in the crater. Believe it or not, but people are actually finding ways to bungee jump into the crater and get a close, intense rush of heat while they're at it. If you're gonna bungee jump, you might as well make it as dramatic as possible, right? The bungee jumpers are tied to a helicopter and will be hanging upside down for quite a while until someone on board reels them back into the helicopter, kind of like they're fishing or something. Number 10. Copacabana Beach. One of the more picturesque and scenic beaches in the world, Copacabana attracts many beautiful people and tourists around the world, but it also attracts many criminals as well. Crime here takes the form of pickpockets and petty thieves hoping to make some quick cash. Many tourists complain about going into the water for a swim and coming back with all their belongings, especially their cell phones, completely missing. It's highly recommended not to wear flashy clothes or jewelry on this beach. Other criminals are less sneaky about it and just rob people at gunpoint in midday. Millions of people visit this beautiful place without anything happening to them, but it's certainly a dangerous beach, and at least you don't have to worry about pollution, sharks, or killer bacteria. But they do have what's known as arrastos, which means teenagers from the inner city who come to more popular areas with tourists. They typically grab whatever they can find, including bags, phones, wallets, and sometimes they use intimidation tactics to get it. They then bring all their loot home to the favelas just west of Rio de Janeiro. Number 9. Skeleton Lake. This really doesn't sound like somewhere you'd want to go wakeboarding at during your next vacation, but the natural beauty is undeniable. Skeleton Lake, or Rupkund, India, is located high up in the Indian Himalayas on an alpine spring. It's home to a festival each year, with neighboring villages coming together for religious harmony. Sounds nice until we mention the part that it's completely surrounded by skeletal remains of over 300 people. Don't come here if that creeps you out or if you're worried about becoming one of them. A hiker came across this scene but couldn't quite figure out the reason for all the bones. Some say they were victims of a massacre from an invading tribe sometime in 850 AD, and it looks like they must have been beaten pretty hard due to the skull fragments. Others claim it was a severe hailstorm, which would explain the victim's wounds. Either way, you probably don't want to wander around this place too much, or you might end up like these people. Number 8. Odessa Catacombs. There might be a lot of catacombs out there in Europe, but something just doesn't seem right about this one in Odessa after doing some research. Originally built as a limestone mine, you can tell from this photo it's supposed to be closed to the public. But people still find a way into this forbidden zone. The catacombs in Odessa, Ukraine have a massive tunnel system that stretches out to be about 1,500 miles under this Slavic beach town. That's longer than San Diego to Seattle. And it's not just bones you might find there, but also some shady things going on, as well as its haunting history. It's supposedly where executions of Nazi soldiers took place, and also it acted as a Soviet hideout. In modern times, it's been the location of homicides, illegal mushroom cultivators, and bootleg winemakers. Recently, a woman explored these tunnels and never came back. There's also rumors about treasure being here if you're out to go find some. But only enter if you dare. Number 7. Playa Zipolite. Also known as La Playa de los Muertos, or a beach of the dead in English. It should come to no surprise that this is one of the most dangerous beaches in the world. It's a beautiful beach located in Mexico, no doubt, but sometimes things can be deceiving. Although it's a popular place for tourists and nudists, it also has a deadly riptide which people need to watch out for. The underwater currents can be so strong that they can actually kill any of the most experienced scuba divers with ease. Swimmers are advised to approach with caution, and they can often drift far away from shore due to the currents. A voluntary lifeguard team was established here due to so many swimmers who have drowned. Number 6. Angel's Landing. Found at Zion National Park in Utah, this well-known hiking location doesn't just look unusual, it's also quite dangerous to those who aren't taking the hike too seriously. This formation juts out from the ground 1,488 feet and provides spectacular views of the valley below. The trail to get to the top has been known to be extremely strenuous, and there's no mattress at the bottom in case you fall. There's been a recorded 5 fatalities recorded by park officials, and there's only a chain to help you get to the top. The layers of rock date back to 270 million years ago, back when dinosaurs were roaming the planet. It might be fun to visit, but walking up this thing is certainly not for everyone. Number 5. La Rambla, Spain. Sure, Barcelona is a popular tourist city with many different tourist attractions worth visiting. One of the most popular streets to visit here would of course be La Rambla. This is where tourists bring big money for shopping, so pickpockets will follow. Barcelona turns out to be one of the biggest cities in the world for pickpocketing, so that means one of their busiest streets is going to be somewhere you might want to avoid. With so many people walking here on a daily basis, it's quite easy for a pickpocket to blend into a large crowd and snatch your belongings. Some Spanish people living here consider pickpocketing to be a generally accepted sport. Many of the pickpockets are known to work in groups, with one of them distracting the target while the other takes the loot. The decoy can be someone asking for directions or a good-looking Spanish woman. It's a beautiful part of the city, and it can be enjoyed, but you just gotta be careful. Many of the pickpockets aren't even Spanish, but from Eastern European descent, causing problems. And watch out for anyone trying to get you to sign a petition. This is also a scam. Number 4. Yellowstone Loophole Zone. Sure, Yellowstone Park is America's first national park and is home to much scenic beauty, but you certainly would not want to respond to any ads for a hiking buddy on Craigslist who wants to go to the Yellowstone Loophole Zone. Well, it turns out that due to a loophole in some jurisdictions, there is about a 50-mile zone where no one is really able to arrest you for whatever horrific crime you decide to commit. It's almost like a glitch in the Matrix. Yellowstone Park is a federal land which is located in parts of Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana. A defendant must return to the state where a crime was committed, but Congress decided that the park is only under Wyoming federal jurisdiction. This means that Yellowstone Park in Idaho and Montana can't really put a person on trial for a serious crime if it were to happen. But it gets even crazier. The thin piece of land on the Idaho side also doesn't have any people living there, and therefore wouldn't even be able to provide people for a jury. Anyways, lawmakers haven't really made any changes here, and technically, according to a paper from a professor, you could essentially get away with murder at this location. We're not saying to go ahead and try or anything, but if you had to pick somewhere to get away with a crime, this might be the best part of Yellowstone Park to do it. Number 3. The Great Pyramid. Great Pyramid displays nearly perfect symmetry and was constructed around 2560 BC, taking an estimated 20 years to finish. It stands as a symbol of all the mysteries of mankind. It's a great monument, without a doubt, but many tourists have been unsatisfied with coming to Cairo, and just the challenge of getting from the airport to the pyramids can prove to be very difficult. Not only is Cairo one of the most polluted cities in the world, it can also be the hottest. Massive sandstorms can make the city impossible to breathe at, and dust particles can result in serious lung complications. Many tourists claim to be harassed by people trying to sell them souvenirs, camel rides, take photographs, and are put in shady situations. Northern areas near the pyramids and the Sinai Peninsula have a high threat of terrorism, kidnapping, and the threat of running into armed militant groups, according to safetravel.gov. Number 2. The Devil's Swimming Pool. Possibly the most dangerous place in the world to swim at is right over the edge of Victoria Falls, the world's tallest waterfall. Right before the waterfall begins sending water 100 meters downward, there's an area of water calm enough to swim in. It's nicknamed the Devil's Swimming Pool. This is located on the border of Zambia and Zimbabwe, and some people like this guy lean over the edge to get a once-in-a-lifetime photo. It almost seems like the perfect place to hang out at and enjoy the view below. Besides the whole part about getting sent down 355 feet to a watery grave, it seems like pretty chill. And number 1. Blarney Stone. The Blarney Stone has been around for several centuries and is probably something you can skip during your next Euro trip. It's said to bring the gift of gab and good luck to those who kiss it. Tourists from around the world assume a strange position, get on their backs like in this photo, and give the rock a big smooch. Considering how many people have put their lips on this thing, is it even worth the cold sore? Legend even says that the bloody stone is cursed. One man fell suspiciously trying to kiss the stone, and those out there who decide to take a little piece with them home of the stone will certainly regret it. An American named Linda says she's living proof of the curse. Within 3 weeks, she unexpectedly lost her job and suffered from severe depression. Once she realized all this, she took the rock and mailed it back to Ireland. Have you guys been to any of these crazy tourist attractions? Let us know in the comments section and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video.